everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant, and you are here for another Cape Conversations in the beautiful town hall in Sandwich, Massachusetts. Oh, we've got a great guest today. She knows everything there's to know about the town of Sandwich because she's the assistant town manager, Heather Harper. So come along. Let's have another Cape Conversations. Hi, everybody. I am excited to be in the beautiful Sandwich Town Hall. Oh my gosh, it's historic. And it's in Sandwich, so it would be historic, right? Anyway, I'm so delighted today to be sitting here talking with the new, but not so new, assistant town manager, and that would be Heather Harper. Heather, how are you?
I am excellent and also really happy to be here with you. Thank you for asking me.
Oh my gosh, I'm just delighted beyond belief. I want to know, first of all, where do you come from? Because you know what? I know you've been here a while, but a lot of people go, oh, it's Heather Harper, but what about her? Who is she? Where did she come from? Did she fall out of the sky?
Yeah, I won't go too far back, but I moved to Cape Cod when I was 2.
Oh my gosh.
So I was one of the, wash ashores from the 70s. His family moved down here and really, we grew roots here. And I grew up in Marston's Mills, really not too far from the Sandwich line. And so I'm a Cape Codder. Have spent the last 20 plus years of my life as a resident of Falmouth, and I still reside there.
Yeah.
I was the assistant town manager there in multiple roles, but ending as assistant town manager for over 21 years. Working with that town, had a little hiatus from local government management and worked with the Cape Cod Commission, which was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
And then was lucky enough to land here in the really wonderful, beautiful town of Sandwich. So
excellent.
It's been a nice ride.
Excellent. And are you married? Do you have kids?
It's a good question. Yes. I've been married for almost 26 years.
Oh my gosh, you're too young.
No. And I have two boys. I have a freshman in college who's attending college from his bedroom, and a junior in high school who will be attending Falmouth High School this year.
Oh, is that right? Well, I know I've got a senior at Falmouth High School grandson. And I guess they don't go back to September 21st.
It's a long time. Yes.
It's a long time. And he's a soccer player, and he's very disgruntled about life at the moment.
We'll have to chat about that after.
Yes, we definitely will. Anyway, so what is your role here in Sandwich? What do you do? I mean, obviously, Bud's been here for 900 years. Oh, my God, he's going to shoot me for saying that. No, he's been here a long time, and he's a great town manager. We all know that. However, what is your role? Is your role, assistant town manager, to assist him, or do you have specific duties that you do?
I have specific departments that organizationally report to me. And so that's an important sort of feature to allow Bud the liberty not to have to address like the day-to-day issues of operations in any of those departments. But really it is, my view is to make the projects happen. And working with Bud from a policy and management perspective, but once projects get to the point of needing to happen, my experience really puts me in a position to allow those to advance forward. I know the processes for, whether it's internal projects or larger construction projects, I'm very comfortable bringing groups together to do that. And so I really try to take whatever I can off of his plate. Make those issues, either resolve issues or facilitate projects on behalf of the selectman and the town manager, and do that in a way that he can feel, liberated from them, but close enough. I'm certainly reporting to him on a daily basis and checking in, but he knows and can have comfort that they're going to happen appropriately.
Excellent. Well, what's your background, though? Is this what you studied? Did you study town planning in college?
Yeah, I actually have a master's in planning from University of Massachusetts in Amherst.
Excellent.
So that was a great segue into local government management. And I actually saw, interestingly enough, the job in Falmouth discussed on the floor of town meeting. I was oddly enough watching town meeting in my early 20s and saw the town meeting members talking about the position. It was assistant to the town administrator at the time.
Yeah.
And it just sounded fascinating. I really think I have some attention deficit problems. So a job that has a lot of things going on at the same time is where I'm really most effective.
Right.
And so it just sounded so interesting to me. And then, it was probably close to a year later, the job was actually advertised. I applied and was lucky enough
Excellent.
to be a candidate.
That's great.
So that's how I got into the management role. And it really has suited me, and I really, really enjoy the role of assistant.
Yeah.
I like the facilitating role that has.
It's funny because I worked for Mashpee Commons in Mashpee
Yeah.
for 16 years, and I got to do things like charrettes,
Mhm.
and I was sent to various parts of the country to see planned communities done by Andreas Duaney, the famous architect and town builder, Cuban national who came to this country, I think, as a small child. I don't know if it was on a boat, but I think they were escaping something.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I went to school for communications. I was going to be a weather girl, but later in life, after I've done all this, I thought, man, if I could have been a town planner, what a wonderful job that would be. Interesting, creative, all the good stuff.
Yeah, and I think even local government management, the planning end of things, you get to be involved in the planning end, but you're really there, boots on the ground when the implementation happens.
Right.
So I was lucky enough, I was with the commission to work with the folks at Mashpee Commons and to attend some of those same.
Douglas Stores, perhaps?
Didn't meet Douglas Stores, but
okay.
Local team
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I got,
John Renz.
yeah,
John.
Yes.
Yep.
really thoughtful people, and I learned a lot from them.
Yes.
About community plan.
Well, from John Renz, you wouldn't see.
Yeah.
He'll watch this. You didn't learn anything, I don't think, because people used to think I was his boss. He was actually my boss.
Yeah.
It was great. Anyway, so enough about me. So what's going on with this pandemic? When are you going to get it out of here? Isn't that part of your role?
Well, it's everybody's role, and I think this community is doing a really excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
For many days now, we've been at 0 cases in the town of Sandwich, and we've really hovered below a handful for quite a long time.
Although we were the first on the Cape.
We were the first on the Cape, so that was incredibly stressful, and certainly it was anxiety for me as newer person to the community and the position. And one of my jobs you'd asked about is the principal information officer for the community. And I'll never forget sitting with the executive command team that had been set up with a police chief, fire chief, superintendent schools, a director of public health, public health nurse, town manager. And we had the first case, and it was a Saturday, and they were all expecting that we were going to do a press conference on Sunday morning, and that I would be speaking before the hordes of television cameras that were here from off Cape to talk about how the pandemic has reached this lovely peninsula on Cape Cod. So I was preparing for that. That didn't happen, but it certainly was something I was concerned about, was how the national and regional communities would respond to seeing the pandemic reach the Cape, because we do have a sense of, being insular and protected from things. And we learned very quickly that we are not. We are just like everyone else, and we need to respond appropriately. And I really was as horrible as the coronavirus has been for, the health of our community and the economic long-term viability of everyone. Which is a deep concern of all of us looking forward. It has been a unique opportunity for me to get to know the leadership in the community, which, I couldn't be in a better group of people with the leadership team that we have here. Mm-hmm. And really the way that this community, the old Bill Belichick saying, do your job. Right. That everybody steps up and does their job and doesn't try to put their fingers in other folks' business. Right. So the team structure is incredibly effective because we don't try to be anything other than what we are. So I've really taken the role of information officer very seriously. And so, working with the team to produce the outreach and the communication that you see, I think, been an important part of communications. Sure. And that's so vital. It's vital during this difficult time. It's vital all the time, though. I think the number one issue in the world is communication. Just tell people. Give them the truth. Don't lie to them. Tell them the truth, and everything will be fine. Well, we're all adults. At least most of us are. We can take this. So regarding the pandemic, it certainly has had economic impact, as you indicated. Obviously, revenues are down. For the state, taxes are down, meal taxes are down, room taxes are down. I must say that real estate is up because everybody came from New York and decided to buy a house. Yeah.
which is good and bad because now it really screws up our housing market. I talk a lot to Alyssa Magnotti, who is head of HAC. She is very concerned about this, you know.
So I was lucky enough when I was with the commission to oversee the regional housing market analysis,
Right.
and work closely with the Housing Assistance Corporation and
Right.
many groups throughout the Cape. And I am very concerned about the change in the real estate market, is that gap between housing affordability and incomes for our region, including the town of Sandwich,
Right.
is going to continue to expand. So the opportunity for a diversity of population
Right.
is going to be a real challenge for the Cape for many, many years to come.
Well, and this is not a real diverse town. We know that already.
Right.
I mean, we all pretty much look alike in this community.
Yeah.
And I think I read just recently that to buy a house on Cape Cod in general, not in Chatham, which is much higher, you have to make at least $69,000 a year. That's a lot of money.
Haven't looked at the numbers recently, but that seems low to me.
Well, and that I just
Yeah.
read it probably a week and a half ago because
Yeah.
I used to sell real estate as well, and
Yeah.
I was reading an article, and it might have been from a month ago or 2 months ago. But I live in Town Neck, which used to be the bad place to live in
Right.
town. And now you can't buy a house there.
Yeah.
And they're going quickly. But the number of New York cars, that are in Town Neck, they've bought these properties, so they buy them cheap, they tear them down, and then they rebuild a giant house.
And that really is the fundamentals of our housing market, is that the housing market is driven by folks whose income is earned elsewhere.
Right.
Not earned here. So whether it's New York or Boston or somewhere else in the Commonwealth, the income that's coming in to acquire property in our community isn't generated here. So we're not generating local wealth that allows folks to access the housing market. And that's a big challenge for our region looking forward.
Sure.
To address
Sure.
housing market diversity. If you don't have housing market diversity, you're very unlikely to see population diversity.
Right. Right. So, the other thing is we're sitting here in this beautiful town hall, and this beautiful town hall is going to it's going to stay the beautiful town hall. It's just not going to be used by you guys, right?
No, that's not entirely true.
Okay.
We are going to sustain board meetings in this room.
Mm-hmm.
So this meeting room will be used just as it is now.
Right.
So a lot of access to the meeting room for selectmen's meetings, finance committee, all those boards that you see, any public forum. And of course, we'll continue the great community access that we have for
Right.
we're able to return to theater productions,
Right.
music,
Right.
and community activities.
That's my deal,
Yes, really important.
It is really important.
Have that as a
It
community.
is really important.
We do need to think ahead about the lower level, which we'll need to think about uses that can operate, knowing that the public will be in. You may have folks clog dancing or step dancing above you in the evening hours, and activity will be happening here. But some uses that can operate in sort of normal business hours.
Sure.
And collaborate with the town. I think there's a lot of opportunity.
I was fortunate enough to be chair of the rededication of the town hall a few years ago. And one thing I learned was, and I didn't realize this, when it was first built, the downstairs was used for like commerce. There were stores, several stores down there. And then they had like probably one office, I'm assuming, the town mayor or manager, town head selectman, I don't know exactly what. But that to me is so intriguing because that could be really something, everything sandwich based, it's something that would, we will have tourists come back eventually.
I think certainly the connection between the marketplace on Main Street in Sandwich, to the historic assets, both this building, the Hoxie House and the mill, and the fish run, all those things, making that connection, whether it's through a historic interpretive museum of some kind,
which would be fabulous,
with some commercial interests. I think there's a lot of open mind. There'll be some pressure, I expect, to have some revenue generated from the operations,
of course,
on the lower level.
Well, you got to pay rent everywhere, right?
But that can be part of the puzzle. So that would be something you see us wrapping our heads around
Sure.
over the next several months is how we tackle that decision.
When will you be moving to the new town hall? Which I always thought the bank looked like a town hall. So it's kind of interesting.
We're trying not to call it town hall, and we'll need to think about what we really call it, because we're calling it 100 Route 6A municipal offices, because this is the town hall.
Well, it is.
So we want to sustain this as
Those gold letters are going to stay on the outside.
cultural importance that this
Right.
is Sandwich's town hall.
Right.
We'll still be the seat of governance for the selectmen, so it
Yeah.
will sustain that important role. But we'll be hopefully moving next fall, a year from now.
Excellent.
The general contract was awarded on August 17th with construction commencing. They're going like gangbusters with the demo. In fact, I just got a picture a few minutes ago of
I saw the dumpsters.
the rear courtyard, which we're really excited about, and need to express our gratitude to the town for additional funding to make that project happen.
Oh, that's great.
That creates more air and light on the lower level.
Yeah.
So that courtyard is being dug out as we
Yeah.
speak.
Nice.
So by next October-ish, we should be moving. So there's a little bit of time.
Yeah.
We also want to be mindful that there's a lot of moving parts with the many projects we're
Mhm.
working on, with the wing school and the school administration needing a
Right.
place possibly temporarily while we're finishing up the Center for Active Living.
Right.
That would in theory open up the Human Services building for school administration.
Right.
So while we need to come up with a plan for the lower level, we also think being patient about how
Sure.
quickly we do that to make sure we accommodate some really challenging and exciting moving parts for some of our offices.
Sure. Sure. That makes good sense.
Yeah.
So, what else do you have on your plate? Nothing else big?
They're all big, but they're all very manageable.
Yeah.
Again, we've brought in really strong teams to
Yeah.
support projects. So the renovation of Town Hall. Those of you who haven't met yet, Brian Schlegel is our new, came on just a couple of weeks before I did,
Oh,
as our facilities manager, and he's certified as a state project manager.
wonderful.
And he's credentialed as the part of the
Yeah.
contracting procurement, so he is the
Right.
project manager for that
Excellent.
project. So we've got a lot of work to do. The focus there for the management side is going to be on the technology and acquiring the IT to make sure that that's done in a way that's resilient for the long term and operates in a way that's modern.
Well, and that's the problem is that changes so quick. The
Yeah.
IT changes so quick that you really have to be thinking 5 to 10 years out. You can't be thinking about next year. You have to be thinking long term.
And this virus has demonstrated that in such a tangible way, right?
Don't you wish you had a piece of Zoom?
I know. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
They couldn't get it off the ground. They could
Yeah.
not get it off the ground.
Yeah.
And now that's all anybody uses,
Right.
you know? That and Microsoft Meetings, which is really kind of a pain in the neck, I think, but Zoom is much easier.
It's very easy, great for
Yeah.
community meetings.
Right.
So there's that project, and then of course the library renovation is going on.
Oh, I know, which is
Yeah,
exciting.
I had a fun day with our library director, Joanne Lamoth, last
Yeah.
week, where I was invited to join her up at a showroom for furnishings.
Uh-huh.
So it was nice just to have a look at what they're looking at for furnishing the library.
Great.
Again, the furnishings are not a huge part of the renovation or the budget, but it's those kind of key features that make it both functional, useful,
Right.
attractive, and really make it kind of a
Right.
special place.
And once again, the library is not moving. It's staying on Main Street in Sandwich, correct?
yes, it is. It
Yes.
will just be a better, brighter, more functional, and modern
Right.
interior. The exterior will not change.
And that's a good thing. You know, people here in town, they don't like change like that too much.
No, you are not doing anything to the beautiful exterior.
That's wonderful. Now, the school, the Clark Haddad Hall, which is now called,
Spring Hill School.
no, yeah, but it was Spring Hill School, but it's the Clark Haddad Hall
Yeah.
where you're going to have meetings there too. That'll continue.
Oh yeah,
eventually.
we haven't, with the coronavirus, the space there is quite small,
Right.
and that's again a challenge for us. That's really used for the boards that hold lots of public hearings,
Yeah.
and you can't control the number of
Right.
the public that will be in there. So those boards, we're going to encourage to remain, at least for the time being, remote, which is awkward and uncomfortable. But we don't have a great space
Right.
for that. Just
What
yet.
do you use? Zoom?
We use Zoom?
Yeah.
Yep.
We should have we should have a piece of Zoom. I'm telling you.
It's a combination, and just, hats off to SCTV for stepping up in a really incredible way to make all of these meetings happen. But it's a combination of SCTV, television,
IT people
on channels, live stream, Zoom, email, and in person. And some of these things happen all at the same time.
What's funny to me though is there will people that will say, well, I didn't know this. Well, why didn't they tell me this? Well, you must be living under a rock, because all the information is out there.
Yeah.
It is. It's out there. And you can go online and get it. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to have Comcast to get it. You can go online to SCTV and .org, and all the shows are there. Everything's there. So
I mean, there have been some positive outcomes of working remotely, and we've learned a lot with this the virus. And I think clearly some of the tools will stay.
Yeah.
Even for internal meetings, I might, rather than a phone call, I might Zoom somebody who's working in Jan Sebastian Drive.
Right.
To have that, face-to-face conversation.
Well, and the other thing too is some people may remain working at home.
Yeah.
Why do you need an office if you don't have the public coming in to see you, and there's just a certain amount of work to get done? Why do you need to come into an office? You can do it from your home.
I hope this is a really positive change for local government, which has been the last bastion of what you call FaceTime, which people sitting at their desk when they really could be. We could be accommodating more flexible work schedules, accommodations, and so long as people really do get the work done. And our folks have been amazing at just keeping everything going without a blip.
Keeping it straight.
And keeping it straight. And they can do that from home from time to time if they need to. And I hope that's a positive outcome. I think we'll attract more a different type of candidate for jobs. Can demonstrate some more flexibility.
It certainly is better for, I think for women in particular. I think sometimes it's easier because if you have children, you can work that into your schedule and such.
Yeah, it's really every life stage has a different set of demands, and you can work a different way. So long as the job duties, some jobs require you to be sitting at your desk, greeting the public. There are some jobs that require that. There are others that really can work quite productively. And if they're working at 9 o'clock at night, that's fine.
You don't care. It's funny though. I used to laugh because it was many years ago when they were first starting about people like working at home part-time and working in an office part-time. And as a shopping center manager, I kept trying to figure out, because I was at Cape Cod Mall, I was at South Cape Village, I was at Mashpee Commons, certainly. I kept thinking about how can I figure this out, and there was just no way.
Yeah,
always had to be there. So
even for yourself,
for my job, for myself, there was just no way. So I'm sure you're kind of that way too. They need you here. So
the physical presence is really important. From time to time, if I have a large project that requires, sort of intense work, I might spend a few hours at home. But I need to be here.
Yeah, you do.
I love to be here.
And you've got a beautiful place to work currently, and the place you're going to is going to be pretty too. So.
And I'm in a life stage now where I don't have the demands of young children on me, or my youngest now drives.
Yeah, yay!
Yes, yay!
Yeah.
But so those are life stages are really important to.
Yes, they are. Boy, they are. Ever. I will tell you, as you get older, it even gets better.
That's awesome.
Yes, it is. It is awesome. So. If you were going to tell people what's coming up in the future besides the new municipal building that's going to house the offices for the town of Sandwich, is there anything else that's coming up in the future? We know the virus is going to last. We've got to be patient, as much as I don't want to be. But we've got to be patient. I know you're doing a flu clinic.
Yes.
Right?
Correct. September 16th.
Okay. And it's drive-through. How cool is that?
How awesome is it that
it's like Boston or something?
The community has the flu pandemic clinic sort of packaged and ready to roll going back to 2006. It really, again, way before me, recognition of the...
Still, it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
It is. It's a wonderful
We're prepared for anyone over the age of 19 will have access to a flu shot through the town of Sandwich.
Well, that's wonderful.
And stay tuned to some other media, and you'll see the phone number to call, and you make an appointment with the public health nurse, make sure you have your insurance information with you,
Yeah.
whatever that is,
Yeah.
and you would have access to the flu shot that's appropriate to you at your life stage.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So again, is there anything else that we've got coming up in the next year or 6 months?
Exciting stuff. Of course, the wing schools, possible within the next 18 months or so.
Wow.
The Board of Selectmen and the developer executed a purchase and sales agreement earlier this summer. They'll be voting on the land development agreement, which lays out the details of how the project will unfold once the first phase begins. That's on the agenda for this Thursday evening. And you'll see
They're apartments, not condos, correct?
they're apartments, they're rental, which
Yes.
is really important.
Very important.
Part of the diversity
Housing.
we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Senior rental housing, mostly affordable, a very few market rate units. So they will all be very popular.
Yes, I'm
and will be
sure.
snapped up quickly. But the development of that project will necessitate a zoning board of appeals hearing. And that's a great opportunity for the public to engage if they have any thoughts or concerns about the details of the construction of the project. You know, we presented a concept plan that we expect to be moved forward as presented. But some of those construction details will really be honed with the zoning board of appeals.
Excellent.
So that's a really important project for the town.
It is.
Of course, the Center for Active Living, we can't leave this conversation without that
I know.
project. Just again, you know, I was really attracted to the town because of these very major changes in the way you're delivering services for the community and moving the police department and the fire department to the Catuit Road, Quaker Meeting House corner, and then adding that Center for Active Living with, we will now have, you could walk from your tennis and pickleball, skateboard, over to the Frisbee golf
Right.
area, go for a dip, play basketball at Oak Crest Cove,
Right.
make your way back to the corner. And maybe if you're, you know, a young senior or an active senior, you might play some indoor hoops at the new gymnasium that's going there. We have a great team together. We have our project manager is Pomeroy Associates. And the designer is BH+A, and Joel
Wonderful.
Bargman is the principal. Really thoughtful people, really helping us build a building that will, again, stand the test of time.
Right. And that's what we need here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, actually, the buildings that they built, you know, 200 years ago, it's amazing how they've stood the test of time.
And the scale and the aesthetic of those are so incredibly important.
It sure is.
And really making a landscape plan in the long haul that connects those and makes it a place that if it looks interesting from the outside, you're more likely to wonder what's going on in there.
Inside,
I need to get in there and find out what's
Right.
going on.
Right. I saw an ancient map of Sandwich once from early 1800s. Of course, there was no 6A.
Right.
What was interesting though was especially where Jarvis Street is, there were shops. There were people living above the shops down below.
Yeah.
You know, and of course the church was across the way and what have you. It was very interesting to look at as the way they used to build towns. And obviously Mashpee Commons has kind of gotten back to that direction as well, but they used, and I know it for a fact, that they used that map of Sandwich to figure out some of what they're doing. And it was an eye opener to me as somebody who lives here and pays taxes here. But how well this town was originally planned.
Yeah, and really that compact development and mixed use.
Yes.
Something I hope we see flourish in future years, and rethinking subdivision control, rethinking large lots in those areas that are going to be served by sewer, rethinking the way that we can use existing developments to support the diversity of housing that we need to be sustainable over the long haul.
Right. And really, if you want to have a nurse at Cape Cod Hospital, or you want to have a teacher in the schools, we better come up with a way of having good housing, because most of the teachers, they're going to age out, they're going to retire, and we need new young blood here to teach our kids. And the only way to do that is by having affordable housing for them. And when you say affordable, everybody's hair catches on fire. Why? I don't know. I guess everybody wants unaffordable housing. I haven't quite figured that out, but it's so important to have housing that at a reasonable cost that most average Americans can afford.
Yeah, and we are quickly pricing ourselves out of the market.
Yes.
Sandwich has been, for many years, closer in terms of housing supply and having a supply of housing that's affordable to those earning the median income.
Mhm.
But what's happening now in this market is going to drive a wedge in that for Sandwich and all of Cape Cod.
Right.
So it reinforces the need for really good planning around compact development and redevelopment
Right.
in a way that I think is very different from the way folks have envisioned the growth in this community.
Right. Right. Well, and we're a community of older folks.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks, I've lived here 40 years, but I was a wash ashore, obviously. But there are a lot of older folks here, and they came down and they bought their house, and this is my town, and I don't want anything to change.
Right.
You know, and it's those folks that we got to work with and show them the light, as I like to say.
Well, another thing that's going on right now that folks can participate in and stay tuned to is the local comprehensive plan.
Yes.
And that's where these types of discussions can really happen, is taking a look at the vision for the wastewater phases. Where can we look at changes to zoning that may allow for increased density or use changes that might support a housing supply that's more diverse than we currently have?
Sure.
And, you know, when you're in a down economy, and so other than the real estate market, I'd say we're in a down economy,
Right.
is the right time to plan. It's the right time
Right.
to put your thinking caps on, do the regulatory work and changing the land use plan and vision. And so the planning department with Ralph Fataco and Leanne Drake are sort of doing the background work on that now, but you'll see that committee come alive in the next several months.
Have you thought about doing a charrette for the town of Sandwich?
I'm sure that there will be. They're still in sort of the back office mode and
gotcha.
doing the development of the
Sure.
data.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there'll be several of those.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. Well, Heather, thank you.
So fun. We can talk anytime.
I know we can just like talk for
You
hours.
could pick any topic and
People
just
would be
go.
bored to tears. They'd be flipping me off. Anyway, so thank you so much. You're a
very
delight.
welcome. Yes.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
having
And
me.
I hope we can do this again. Maybe in 6 months. We'll see where we are. How about that?
Let's catch up.
Yeah. You know, we definitely will need a catch up.
Best
Maybe this
on the
virus will go underground for a while or something. I don't know. I don't think so, but you know, let's hope. Anyway, you stay safe and you stay well.
Thank you. You too.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining me today on another Cape Conversations. Heather Harper. Fantastic. She gave us lots and lots of information. And don't forget to get your flu shot. The town's going to have them for free, and it's a drive-through. Go figure. Here in our antique town, we have the newest and latest ways to get your flu shot. I think that's something sensational. So again, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you around on another Cape Conversation.